Yes, the Monday after the time change. Boy, does it suck. It's Monday, March 9th, 2026. Yesterday did feel off. This morning, I woke up just exhausted. I went home on my lunch break. I didn't even take a snooze. I just closed my eyes with my CPAP on, and I sat there. I laid there with my eyes closed for like 15 to 20 minutes. Didn't even fall asleep, and just opened my eyes after my alarm went off. Do I feel better? Somewhat. Yeah, I do. If you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. This 1 hour difference definitely does throw you off. I know I spent a good portion of the show last week, I think on Thursday, making fun of those articles about how you need to get prepared for the time change. Oh, man. You know, you get used to it after a short while. It's really no big deal. It's not like it's 5 hours, really. But still, it does affect you. But at least we get sunlight, right? That's the big thing. At least we get an extra hour of sunlight. That's the whole thing. But is it really worth it? I don't think so. Shout out to Elena, by the way, coming by earlier today, getting her Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. Make the Switch with Brent Gordon Law. She won the whole thing, so she came in, took a picture with me. We also got a picture of just her. We'll be posting that here on our socials at KBear101FM. Also, yesterday was International Women's Day. Maddie, you're stopping by the studio once again. I mentioned International Women's Day.
I'm a woman.
And you get summoned like a genie. You forgot your Red Bull in here. I was just talking about the non-stop female-fronted bands playlist that I did, or that I played. I played all those different bands on Friday.
Nice. Way to support women.
Of course. They're taking over metal. You know, some of them are doing better than most men bands, those male bands in metal. You know,
well,
look at Spirit Box.
If you're going to play that playlist for Women's Day, can you also Venmo me $5? Because I'm also a woman. That's your retributions to me.
Retributions? Don't you mean reparations?
That too.
Okay.
That too. D, all of the above.
You know you're getting older when the closing of a grocery store hits you like a personal loss. Like, I loved this store. It had good prices. It was easy to get in and out of. And most importantly, it wasn't packed with an entire county's worth of shoppers moving around like they had nowhere to be for the next 6 hours. I cannot stand going to the giant grocery stores on a Saturday. Everybody's blocking aisles, parking carts sideways, creeping along at 2 inches a minute, turning a simple trip for bread and chicken into a test of patience, right? This place wasn't like that. You went in, grabbed what you needed, paid, and left without feeling irritated. Then the news came out on Friday that they're closing. My girlfriend and I decided to go in on Sunday. Suddenly, every person in town decides this now has to be the place to be. My girlfriend and I walk into that place, and it's flooded. Carts overflowing, shelves getting picked apart, lines everywhere. And all I could think was, oh, now all of you want to shop here. The same store that most people ignored is suddenly packed because it's dying. Then I post about being upset that it's closing, and, well, people started chiming in with, I only went a couple of times, or I didn't think the prices were that good. That location is cursed. Every time I went in there, I found better deals than the bigger stores. Didn't leave mad at the world. You know, that place was affordable, most certainly. It was peaceful. It was convenient, which is probably why I loved it so much. I'm telling you, losing a grocery store you actually enjoy is one of the clearest signs that adulthood is fully here for me. You know, it's just, I was thinking about that, and I was reading people's comments about that place on my post, and I was thinking, you weren't at the same place I was. I don't think. They were trying to say it was just as expensive as the bigger grocery stores. I'm like, dude, I went in there. I'm a budgeter big time. I went in there and was baffled by how cheap everything was. I've been in those other stores, all right? I still get shocked every single time and go, wow, $8 for a bag of chips? The family size is like $12? It's utterly ridiculous. Anyway, let's do some Bad Omens. Spectre on K-Bear 101. Hey, if you're job hunting and tired of scrolling the same recycled listings, there's something new worth checking out. You've heard me talk about this a few times in the past, HireEastIdaho.com. It just recently got a full redesign. It's packed with real jobs from real local companies. This week's Hire East Idaho Job of the Week is with Jersey Mike's in Idaho Falls. They're hiring team members who actually want to work, bring good energy, take care of customers in a fast-paced environment where everyone pulls their weight. I've been in Jersey Mike's plenty of times, and their team is always working together as a cohesive unit. They're doing in-person interviews March 19th and 20th from noon to 3, and again from 5 to 8 at their location on East Anderson Street. So you can literally show up, shake hands, and make it happen. Pay starts between $10 and $13 per hour, depending on experience, plus flexible scheduling, chances to move up, employee discounts as well. If you're reliable, easy to work with, and want something steady with growth potential, this could be a solid fit. All right, check it out now at hireeastidaho.com. It's free for job seekers, always updating, and built to connect local people with real opportunities. Hire East Idaho, keeping jobs local. So I just want to let you know we've got a wind advisory in effect, and it's going to be a rough couple of days across the region. Gusts are expected to get strong enough to make driving tricky, especially on open roads and highways. It really is scary. Whenever I go down one of those highways, my car all of a sudden just gets pushed to the left. If you're in a truck, SUV, or hauling a trailer, you'll want both hands on the wheel, your full attention on the road. Loose outdoor items are also a concern. You've seen the memes online of people's trampolines going flying across the neighborhood. Trash cans as well, patio furniture, anything lightweight could get tossed around once those gusts pick up. It's a good idea to secure anything that could blow away before it turns into a problem. There's also the chance for scattered power outages if the winds knock into lines or equipment. So make sure your devices are charged just in case. Plan a little extra time to get where you're going. Drive carefully. Keep an eye on changing conditions through Tuesday. Somebody asked recently on Life in Idaho Falls that they just moved into the area and they were quite shocked by a few certain things, and they went on to say, like, what were you shocked by when moving into East Idaho? And I'm quite shocked on how windy it is around here, that sometimes in the summertime you'll just have days of pure and utter wind that will affect a lot of things. If East Idaho is this windy and Chicago is considered the windy city, I wonder how bad it actually is over there. I remember, though, when I had some hair and I didn't want to shave it off, and windy days were the absolute worst, because when the wind hit you a certain way, it would really show how little hair you actually had on your head. So I'm quite glad now that I could just walk outside when it's windy, when it's extremely windy like this, and not be really worried about anything. If you want to read more about the wind advisory, go to eastidahonews.com, eastidahonews.com. Here's Beartooth with their latest track, Free, on K-Bear 101. The Los Angeles Marathon was run yesterday, and while there was a thrilling finish, there was also a lot of buzz about runners who didn't finish and still received those finisher medals. Because of unseasonably warm weather in LA, race organizers gave runners who might be having a rough day, a tough day, the option of cutting the race off at the 18-mile mark, crossing the finish line, and still receiving a finisher medal, even though a full marathon is still 26.2 miles. I feel like, though, if you ran 18, that's a good chunk of it. I can hear the boomer in my ear right now screaming about how everybody gets a participation trophy nowadays. It's not clear yet if this is the last NBA season for LeBron James, but if it is, he still has time to set more records. The latest one came Thursday when he sank the 15,838th shot of his career, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most field goals made in NBA history. James passed Abdul-Jabbar as the league's all-time leading scorer in 2023 and now has over 43,000 points. The next major milestone for James is the record for games played, which is currently held by Boston Celtics legend Robert Parrish. With 1,611 games played, James could break the record as soon as this month. Speaking of the Boston Celtics fans received some news that they had been waiting to hear all season long. Six-time All-Star forward Jason Tatum is back. Nearly 10 months after rupturing his Achilles, Tatum returned to action and is expected to play the rest of the season. The timing is perfect for the Celtics, especially since they're the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference and are actually within striking distance of the top seed. Patrick Mahomes seems to be once again proving he's built differently with reports surfacing that he is crushing the timeline for his ACL recovery. He suffered the knee injury on December 14th, already bending his knee at 90 degrees, which is way ahead of schedule. Most expected Mahomes to miss a bunch of the 2026 season. Some insiders now believe he could be back on the field by week 1. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. It's Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. I came across one of those articles that, most radio shows would probably talk about, but it was pretty funny to me. It's 11 phrases that make small talk immediately uncomfortable. And I want to know if you've ever asked somebody this first one. So what do you actually do all day? What do you actually do all day? I've been asked that a couple of times from listeners who are more so curious about running a radio station in the modern age. You know, we're not flipping through records. We're not putting in cartridges, taking them out, all that stuff. I'm glad I'm in radio with next gen being a thing, with all this technology that we have now versus doing radio back in like 1986 when you had to have a team of people to run a singular person show. So what do you actually do all day is still kind of just like, I feel like it's more so an insult. It comes across as more so an insult because people probably hear about my job and they go, oh, you just sit there and talk in between the songs. And it's like, well, if you saw how much stuff I have to do each and every single day, it would blow your mind. Going down further on this list of 11 phrases that make small talk immediately uncomfortable. Again, do these people know how small talk works that wrote this article? I don't think so, because number 2 is, you look tired. Have you ever walked up to somebody, tried to have small talk with them and go, wow, look how tired you are. Did you not sleep last night? What's wrong with you? You know, who says anything like that? Oh boy, number 3. This one's even worse. Wow, you've gained weight. Wow, you've lost weight. You know what's funny is if you do that to a girl, it's the most insulting thing you could potentially ever say. It's even worse than saying you look tired, right? Of course it is. But if you say, wow, you look like a complete fatty to like your dude best friend, that's somehow okay. I visited my old Foot Locker job a couple years ago and caught up with some of my former coworkers, and I was real skinny when I worked at Foot Locker because I was in prime basketball shape. They saw me and went, wow, you gained weight. So I guess that might be a phrase that people use that makes small talk immediately uncomfortable. This one's even worse. You ready for this? Why are you still single? And it's mostly asked by that one distant relative you see maybe twice a year. They just want to ask you that because they just want to know more juicy gossip about your life, but you're too embarrassed to say anything. And so it's an overall dumb question. I still think I would never ask somebody, why are you still single? Like, even when I reach that stage when I'm like 45 and I'm eating Thanksgiving with my family and I'm not going to ask that one random cousin, why are you still single? It's just not a good question. You know, I have so many other better ones. How much do you make is another one on this list. Do we really need to ask that? When are you having kids? Okay, this list is just a complete joke. Let's move on to some Avenged Sevenfold magic. 3 Days Grace, Mayday. I've seen a ton of people just praising their live shows as of late. I mean, they were awesome when I saw them open up for Disturbed in February of last year. 3 Days Grace is going to be at the Ford Idaho Center Arena, the same venue I saw them at, with their own headlining tour later this year. I believe it's on November 14th with I Prevail and The Funeral Portrait. Pretty good lineup there. It's on our concert calendar, riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. We're currently giving away tickets to an emo party of sorts. You know, this was entirely Jade's idea. He really wanted to, I think, go to this too. Emo Night Brooklyn. It's basically a party is it at the Complex on April 17th? So it's a pretty big venue for such a party where you get to listen to just emo tracks the entire night. I read the entire lineup to Victor on the Noon Hour of Madness and Mayhem last week. Emo Night Brooklyn. Where's the details on this? Where can I find it? Because I don't think that's on our concert calendar. I do need to get that on there. I've been trying my best to get every single show on that concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. Again, you can find the shortcut to the concert calendar via the K-Bear 101 app. I'm at their website, emonightbk.com. Doesn't really tell me what exactly it is. It just has a whole bunch of flashing lights. I'm assuming there's a DJ on stage, and he's playing the emo classics, and people in the crowd are just going wild, singing along. That's about it. If you want to win tickets for that, sign up within the apps. You can sign up once on each app, the K-Bear app, the Alt app, and the Cannonball 101 app. All right, you've probably seen this headline floating around. Wendy's hiring a chief tasting officer for $100,000 a year. 6 figures to eat burgers and Frosties. Internet goes nuts. Everybody tags like their fattest friend, going like, this is your calling. And yeah, on the surface, it sounds like the greatest job posting of all time. You show up, eat fast food, collect a paycheck, go home a hero. Your doctor's like the only person who hates it because you're going to be clogging those arteries with Dave's triple burger, you know? But here's the part that nobody talks about. These jobs are usually big marketing plays, and I'm right now a huge sucker of it because I'm talking about it on the radio here. It's not just sit there and snack. You're basically becoming a walking, talking commercial. You know, you're filming content, doing brand appearances, recording videos, working with marketing teams. It's a spokesperson gig, right? There's one position, just one. Meanwhile, half the country is firing off applications thinking they just found the cheat code, you know? And do we ever actually get a real follow-up? Not really. You never see, hey, 180,000 people applied and, well, Steve from Ohio got it and now he spends 10 hours a day under studio lights pretending to enjoy his 7th burger. Those stories never trend as hard as get paid to eat fast food. Same thing happened when Netflix posted those get paid to watch TV show listings. Sounds like couch paradise. Reality, spreadsheets, tagging systems, deadlines, a boss asking why you mislabeled a documentary. These viral job posts are built to spread, not to hire the masses, you know? I hate to burst people's bubbles here because they just see that headline and they go crazy excited thinking they have a shot at it. It's like, no, come on. You're far from it. Still fun to think about, though. Everyone imagines themselves judging fries like a food critic. Reality is a lot less glamorous, you know, but hey, for $100,000, I would still apply because, you know, radio pay just sucks. So it's real unfortunate that I never got to see Bring Me the Horizon live last year when they came to the Delta Center. Was it the Delta Center or was it the Maverick Center? It was somewhere in Salt Lake City, one of the big centers. It was Bring Me the Horizon with Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira Elfkey. I didn't go because, well, we had a show here to attend and sort of host at that time, that very same day. So at some point, maybe I'll get to see Bring Me the Horizon live. But for right now, I feel like I could settle it by going to see Bring Me the Horizon live in Sao Paulo. That's hitting the big screen in Idaho Falls at Regal Edwards Grand Teton March 25th and March 28th. That whole concert was filmed in front of 50,000 people at Sao Paulo's legendary Alliance Parque. Captures the band's biggest headline show ever. Massive stage production, insane crowd energy, aerial drone shots, visuals that make it feel like you're standing there right in the pit without having to fork over like thousands upon thousands of dollars. The set list rips through fan favorites from Sempiternal, that's The Spirit. Is it Amo? Is that how you say that one? And the Post-Human releases as well, turning the theater into a full-on concert experience. If you want to go to this, listen for the cue to call anytime this week. Be caller 15 when you hear it at 208-535-1015. You'll score a pair of tickets to see Bring Me the Horizon live in Sao Paulo, either March 25th or 28th at Regal Edwards Grand Teton, only from K-Bear 101. Man, I am tired still. Like, I thought that somewhat, not even a nap, I don't know what to call it. I just shut my eyes during my lunch break on my bed at my place for like 15 to 20 minutes, and I thought that would sort of give me a refresher, sort of, but no, it didn't. It just got me like 45% charged, and now I'm back down to like 17. And you know what's funny is that I'm exhausted during this part of the day, but as soon as like 9 p.m. hits, I'm not going to be tired. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to get that second wind. I'm going to be revived. I'm going to all of a sudden feel wide awake, but then that would be the time to go to bed early so that way I can wake up tomorrow all rejuvenated back to 100%. It does suck. I was just talking this morning to Josh from Classy 97. Almost every single dude here on the DJ side wears a CPAP to go to bed. Our big boss man does. Me and Victor, of course, have both shared our stories of wearing our CPAPs. Josh from Classy 97, he is the latest member of the Riverbend Elite CPAP club that we have going on. You know, we were all comparing numbers, the amount of times that we don't breathe per hour. I was talking with another person here in the office about them possibly going to get a sleep study done. I highly encourage anybody who thinks they have trouble breathing while they sleep to do so. Like if you sleep next to your partner and your partner goes, hey, you snore extremely loud, go get a sleep study done. Trust me, it'll help you. It'll save you. Back in 2023, I didn't realize I had it. I also was drinking energy drinks and all that stuff mixed together ended up with me being diagnosed with AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is my heart could potentially jump out of rhythm. And then it's like, oh, you get like a 500% increase in a chance of having a stroke or heart attack. Like, you got to be careful when it comes to your heart. You got to treat it with respect. You got to make sure that thing is 100% healthy. So if you snore at night or if you wake up and you're just exhausted and you feel like you never get enough rest, I highly recommend getting a sleep study done, because if you do have sleep apnea, a CPAP is the best thing to happen to you in quite a long time, if not the best thing to happen to you. It does take a long time to get used to, but once you finally do so, oh man, it's so nice. I sort of wonder what it's like to be a crowd surfer. I was watching some video that somebody posted in the K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal Facebook group. And no, this is not an invitation to be like, Peaches, I heard you talk about it on the radio that you want to be a crowd surfer. I got my 8 buddies here with me. Let's lift you up and see how far you can go. No, I'm just thinking like, how many people would it take for me to be successfully crowd surfed across the entire way going to the barrier? And then will the entire team of security need to catch me and then put me down? Because 360 pounds is a lot of weight. There was a time at the complex, the biggest security dude that they had, I think it was the Hollywood Undead show that we were at, the biggest Samoan security dude that they had was like, hey, could you please not crowd surf tonight, because I really don't want to be responsible for catching you, big dog, or something like that. And I was like, all right, cool. I wasn't planning on it. I'm usually the guy that just stands there. I get made fun of for just standing there. It's like I'm enjoying the music. I'm watching the show, you know? I'm not going to like go crazy, because then if I go crazy, then somebody's bound to get their phone out, record me. One maybe excessive push in the mosh pit, all of a sudden I get accused of pushing somebody down. I'm not risking that, all right? But I was just overall thinking, how many people would it take to lift me up into the air and make me crowd surf all the way across? Here is today's What the Headline. This one sounds like a Netflix documentary. The athletic department at California State University Bakersfield is in serious damage control mode after the former assistant basketball coach, Kevin Mays, he got arrested following this anonymous tip that turned into a full police investigation. I wonder who gave that anonymous tip that knew something dirty about Kevin. And they're like, you know what? He did me wrong for the last time. I'm going to call in and get him in trouble, you know, just make sure to ruin his life for things that he did in the past. Like, he's now facing a stack of felony charges tied to illegal gambling, drugs, and weapons. Now, Mays says he's not guilty, of course, because why would he not say that? Meanwhile, the fallout has already claimed the head coach and athletic director who both step down because nothing says rough season like your staff disappearing off the roster, right? The university says it didn't know anything was going on and is now doing an internal review, which is college speak for everybody check your emails immediately. You're about to get asked a whole lot of questions that you most likely do not know the answers to or don't remember the answers to. Anyway, that is today's What the Headline right here on K-Bear 101. So I was reading here about this survey by the Music Audience Exchange. Even though Gen Z uses AI more than any other generation, they have the most negative feelings about it. Like they don't want to get caught using it type of thing. Like they'll use it for homework, but if you use it to generate something that looks like an anime picture, shame on you. They'll let you know about it. The anti-AI crusade comes after you, you know. When it comes to music, Gen Zers are outright hostile also to music generated by AI, which I also think is also not to be used to earn money off of, if that makes sense. Like I'll use a thing like Suno to make like a funny song, like a funny parody song, like what we did with Lieutenant Crane on Traffic School 2 weeks ago. Made a progressive metal style song called The Mountain or something like that. We're not going to obviously put that out there on streaming platforms and tell people to stream our original song called The Mountain. No, but that's what some of these people are doing. There was somebody recently that posted about how they loved this band, The Hollow. And I knew about them being AI because I also enjoyed their sound and then looked at them and went, wow, yeah, these guys are just AI. It even says right there in the bio, AI made their band possible. So I clicked that do not play this artist button on that particular artist. And I've done that with quite a few. I've seen those lists pop up online of AI-generated bands that nobody should be listening to because they're taking streams away from the actual artists working their butts off to make real music. Like Holding Absence went off in that one band recently, the one AI-generated band that sounded like them that had double the amount of monthly listeners on Spotify. They think they have like 600,000 monthly listeners, people thinking they were real. I mean, some people obviously just don't care. Good music is just good music to them. They don't care whatsoever. But there are people who actually care about, you know, artists making money. Like myself, who sees stuff like this and go, or hear stuff like this and go, yeah, you know what? Maybe we should, eliminate that immediately. I think I saw something over the weekend as well about how Apple Music's going to put a tag on certain artists. If they are AI generated, it'll say so. Spotify needs to do the exact same thing. It's getting ridiculous. And I've seen the one thing that's been kind of irritating me are people not wanting to pay like local artists to make a flyer. And so they'll have ChatGPT generate a flyer for them. I've seen plenty of radio stations doing that. I've seen plenty of local barbershops doing that. They'll have some like just AI generated picture of some old man getting his hair cut, and they'll say like $35 a month, get your head shaved at the spa or whatever type of thing. And like I've made some like jokingly AI generated posts before, but again, I'm not trying to make money off of them. I'm not trying to like elevate my business with them. I'm just making some stupid post, like putting Victor's face on Jim Carrey for crying out loud. I bet Victor read this and got very frustrated by it. I can already hear his voice in my head. Today's "You Can't Make This Up" headline takes us to Illinois. Not today's What the Headline. Don't get it confused for that. Lawmakers there are working on a bill that would create a statewide right to keep backyard chickens. Just talking hens. Forget the potholes. Forget the taxes. We're talking chickens. The proposal would basically stop cities and towns from outright banning residents from having chickens at home. Local governments could still set some rules like how many birds you can have, but they couldn't just say no chickens allowed across the board. And I love the mental image here. Suburban neighborhoods, you get the HOA meeting, somebody standing up very seriously saying, we need to address the rooster situation. You just know there's one neighbor who's all in. You know, fresh eggs, coop in the yard, naming them Linda and Susan. That guy next door staring out the window at 5:30 in the morning, wondering why his backyard sounds like a farm. You know, if one of them started to do that cock-a-doodle-doo real loudly, if I was that neighbor, oh man, that'd be a dead chicken. I don't care. I get myself in trouble. Don't you dare bring your backyard chickens if you're in my neighborhood type of thing. Luckily, I'm in an apartment. That's not too bad. There's not too many loud noises anymore. There really used to be. There used to be a very loud upstairs neighbor. They're gone. There was a loud next door neighbor at one point. They're gone. I've talked about the old lady that now lives next door. She's super quiet. She's the best. I'm now the loudest person in that building. But I've also never understood the appeal of wanting to have chickens in the backyard. Is that the only reason why? Just so they could have fresh eggs? Or maybe you could have some, the poultry, that specialized poultry that you see at the grocery store. That says like cage-free, cruelty-free. Depending on how you treat the chicken, maybe you just slaughter it right there, trim it the way that you need it to be, or cut it the way that you need it to be to get the best cut of chicken possible. Maybe that's the reason why. I mean, egg prices have been wild the last couple of years. I mean, so I remember seeing those people who have backyard chickens just laughing at people like us who wouldn't even have a chicken in our backyard, buying those outrageous eggs from the grocery store. Anyway, enough of me talking about this. This is silly. All right, I'm done. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.